Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Simple Scrapper Live. I am so thrilled to be starting up a new series of live broadcasts yet again. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're watching me live on YouTube or Facebook, please do follow the Crowdcast link to jump over where you can participate in a live conversation with fellow participants and really get the most out of this experience. Each week during November, I will be coming to you live with another new broadcast. This is all part of our 2018 planning party at Simple Scrapper. I've got lots more details for you very soon by email. This is kind of the first kickoff of our planning party, and I am so excited to talk about our book club today. If you read yesterday's email, I've been doing this for 2 years now, and it is definitely one of my favorite parts of leading you guys at Simple Scrapper. Because when we started it out, I realized that so many of you are readers, and you're voracious readers, even more so than myself. And some of you mostly read fiction. Some of you love nonfiction as much as I do. But what we all shared together was this love of new thoughts and new approaches. And it's so fun to take personal growth wisdom from all different perspectives, male and female authors, things that I said in my email are very woo-woo and squishy, and things that are very practical, direct, and cut and dry, and combine them and figure out what we can take away from that for scrapbookers. So that's why we have what I believe is the absolute only nonfiction book club in existence that's specifically for scrapbookers. We take all of this wisdom and invite you to figure out which little nuggets can you take away and apply to your hobby. How can you grow as a person so that you're living the best life that you can that's full of your creative hobby, and so that your creative hobby is fulfilling and you're productive and you feel accomplished in all the ways that you want to feel. So again, my name is Jennifer Wilson, and I am so glad to be joining you here for Simple Scrapper Live. Throughout this year, I was doing these weekly broadcasts. We're still figuring out the schedule for December and beyond, but I love coming to you guys live, and especially here in our Crowdcast classroom, because it is such a unique live environment, and I love being able to interact with you guys in the chat room. And I can even bring you guys on video too, and we do that inside of our membership with our live crops, and that is always so fun. So what we're going to do today is first I'm going to change the screen a little bit, and I'll make my picture really small, and we're going to show you the brand new book club website. We've got everything all nicely laid out for you with this year's, all the upcoming books, as well as a big archive of all of the past books. And then I'm going to switch to a presentation where I'm going to walk you through kind of my thought process in selecting each of the 2018 books. And then finally, I'm going to tell you about something new that we're doing for 2018. And I'll just leave it at that for now. All right, let's try this screen share thing. All right. And then I want to focus. All right. So here is our brand new book club page. The top kind of looks mostly the same. If you've not been here in a while, we've just added the currently reading area, so you know exactly what book we're working on right now and when the next discussion is, and then the chat room is right there. If you've never participated in a chat at Simple Scrapper before, almost all of our anything we call a chat or a meeting are going to be in this little chat room, so nobody sees you on video. It's a really low-key environment where everybody's voice is heard. While doing these crowdcasts is really fun, you guys just get to hear my voice or maybe the voices of a couple other people. When we're here in the chat room, it's a level playing field. We're all in it together, and I really love that. And plus, anyone can come from the comfort of their PJs or anywhere in the world. And having it right here on the book club page makes it easy to access. Our members will be many of them already know that this chat room is the same everywhere across all of our websites. So if you're in the chat room in the members area, you're also in the chat room here. So it makes it extra easy to find. And then scrolling down here, we have our 2018 selections. And we have just redesigned this whole page to make it super easy to see exactly what book we're on, to hop over to Amazon if you want to purchase it in a hardcover, softcover, or Kindle format, whatever works best for you. And yeah, just looks so nice and super easy to find. And of course, I'm going to scroll back here past 2018. Oop, there's a preview. We're going to skip that for now. And here's where we have all of our previous books. So we have our discussion guides and our chat transcripts for each of our past books. I know many of our book club participants aren't able to attend our live discussions, so you can check out the transcript, check out the discussion guide, and then work through it yourself. You can glean so much just from, working through everything that we talked about live and really taking that next step with the material. Because we don't just, it's not like a regular book club where we're just talking about what the book said and what you thought of it. We're taking these ideas that are fundamentally not about scrapbooking, and most of the books are not even about creativity, and we're applying them to scrapbooking and memory keeping and the creative process. So sometimes the connections are really, really tight and awesome, and sometimes they're a little bit looser and tangential, but every single book, I believe, supports you in your life and can give you that one piece of wisdom to take you forward so that your hobby is part of this well-rounded life where you're maximizing your leisure time and taking care of yourself. All right, here, guys, I'm going to switch to the presentation. I think this will work with that. There we go. All right. I can minimize the toolbar. Well, I'm not worried about the toolbar right now. All right. So let's go through step by step. We have 12 books, one per month. On the first of each month, we kind of do an introduction to each book, and then we've got most of the month to read it, and we meet on the last Thursday of the month. So first, we have Reading People by Anne Bogle. This was one of the most requested books from our community. I've already gotten started on this one myself. I have a softcover copy right on my nightstand. And I love her introduction because she talks about all those little personality quizzes that you take online and what you can gain from them. And so then she kind of extends that into actual, psychological personality frameworks like Myers-Briggs and the Enneagram, and helps you use your type. And she offers some helpful ways of identifying your type or further resources if you don't know your type, and what you can bring from those different personality tests back to your life. And so then we're going to take that and we're going to use what you can learn from those personality types and apply that to scrapbooking. Now, we read a book 2 years ago called Creative You, which did that for just Myers-Briggs. So this will be really interesting to see how you can find connections between your different personality types. And I think this is going to be a really fun discussion. I can't wait to get to this in January. All right, then we have Chasing Slow by Erin Luckner. And I've been reading this one off and on. I have this on a Kindle on my phone. And this is a really heart-tugging read, heartwarming and heart-tugging for sure. And it's definitely very much practical with stories. And I think those ends up being some of my favorite books. But I love it when the authors are not just spitting out a lot of scientific jargon and it reads like a research article. I want to hear stories about people's lives. And then what can we take away from that? What are then the takeaways? And so she does a really good job of taking her life stories and coming up with practical nuggets. And so I think this is going to be a really great conversation about figuring out what matters most to you in life. All right, next we have Stop Saying You're Fine. And I'm not very familiar with this author, but I know other people are. And I really think this is going to be a good one for if you've had trouble setting priorities and actually even more so achieving them. I think there's definitely a thread of that throughout all the books this year as here's what I want and how do I get there? How can you use what you know about yourself and how can you employ tricks of the world to get closer to that desired result? And this one I think is going to be really interesting. It sounds like it's an easy read. And so I'm really excited to dig into this one. And I think this will be one where you have as many ahas about your everyday life, as well as how you can apply this to your creative life. All right, now this is the one that I'm actually probably most excited about. And there was a related book that was fiction that was also about food. Now, some of you guys know I'm a big foodie. I not only love to eat, I love to cook. I like trying new things. There's pretty much nothing that I won't try. And I also have this deep appreciation for food traditions. I live in the Midwest, and so that whole Midwest comfort food. I'm also Scandinavian by heritage. And so all those different things related to food and family that are almost the backdrop to our stories. That's what really attracted me to this book. And then the fiction one that I wonder if anybody here is watching it, pop that into the comments, because I really want to read that one as well. We had a long discussion on this inside of our member group about whether or not we could actually bring fiction into the book club and then have a nonfiction discussion about it. And we decided against that for now. But this is a memoir that's focused on food and family and recipes. And I am feeling really strongly that we can learn how to draw connections and be better storytellers through this read. And we can carry that into our scrapbooking and get more of these food stories into our scrapbooking, but also learn more about storytelling in general and how we take what we often consider to be just other things that are going on in our life and maybe not the center of our memory keeping, and how we can use those and weave threads throughout the stories in our scrapbook albums. So this one I think is going to be really fun. And I've heard that other things from this author are also good. So, all right. Oops, there we go. So next up, we have the Four Tendencies. This is another one that was very highly requested. We read another Gretchen Rubin book beginning of this year. And I have to say, you guys know that I didn't love it. I don't love her as an author, and I think it's just a writing style conflict. But I do love her ideas. And we've had so many discussions about her Four Tendencies. And I'm sure that's why she wrote this book, because the core premises of her previous book are kind of expanded on in this one. And I am an obliger, and I always thought that I was an upholder. And if you're curious about this, you'll have to dig in. I always thought that I was one that could respond to follow up with internal and external expectations. And it turns out that I need help, and I need outside support and accountability for following through with these expectations I set for myself. And so learning this about me has allowed me to ask for that support and use tricks so that I am following through in the ways that I want. And so again, this connects with this big theme of this year of how do we get what we want out of life and out of our creative hobbies. And so I know a lot of you are really looking forward to this one. All right, next up, we have The Productivity Project. I listened to this author on a podcast earlier this year, and we've read several productivity books before. This author really delved into the whole genre of productivity processes and approaches, and he tried them on for size. And I think the end result here is that he created this framework for how do you figure out what's going to work for you. There's all these different people that say you should get up at 4 a.m. You should, you shouldn't get up at 4 a.m. You should do all these different things. How do you figure out what's going to work for you so that you can be more efficient and effective in your days? And so I think this is going to be a really interesting book, especially if you guys are into trying these different productivity approaches and you love planners and all these different things. I think this is going to be a fun one for maybe getting us out of that meta land of thinking about it and actually being practical and taking action towards greater productivity and not just always chasing the next shiny object. All right, the next one is a little bit different. This is probably the most woo-woo of all the ones on the list this year. And this is The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And this book is fundamentally about happiness and love and really creating a deep sense of joy in your life. And I know that for many of you, scrapbooking is one of those things that does that for you. It's one of those fundamental parts of your life that contributes to your overall happiness. And when you're doing more of it, you feel that deeper sense of gratitude and more satisfaction in life. And I think if, especially we're doing this one in the middle of the summer, I think this would be a great transition into the second half of the year as we're really trying to get regrounded in what matters most and figure out how we want to continue making 2018 the best year it can be. All right, now this one I know is going to be popular because it's about perfectionism, The Pursuit of Perfect by Tal Ben-Shahar. And I think that there's going to be so many of our Simple Scrapper community that are interested in how we can escape perfectionism to actually get things done, but also leverage it for further creative expression and productivity. How can we use what maybe comes naturally to get more done, but also to let go so that we're not feeling so burdened by it? So I'm really excited to dig into this one. All right, this one was recommended by one of our Simple Scrapper members, Bored and Brilliant by Manoush Zamarodi. And it's all about unplugging, disconnecting from your devices, from this constant stream of information, and how you can do that in a ways that support your creativity and motivation. And then I know we all talk about it like, oh, I need to get off Facebook. Oh, I need to get off the computer. But it is part of our lives these days. So how can we do this in ways that's intentional and that's supportive of our goals and priorities while still recognizing that we live in a wired world? So I think this one's going to be really good, particularly in this, you know, when we're reading this in kind of the back to school time frame. And I know we'll all be looking for ways that how do we not get into that cycle again of just constantly being online, and how can we kind of cultivate that internal sense of peace and flow as we go into the fall. So related to that, and I tried to do some of these books in pairs of kind of related ideas. Create More Flow by Camille Preston. This is one where I think it takes the next step and will help you feel less scattered, less of that I can't really get into the zone because I've got so many ideas and so many priorities and not enough time. And you can figure out how you can create more balance, more ease and simplicity in your life so that your creative practice really feels focused and energy fulfilling instead of energy draining. So, all right. In November, we're going to read The Gratitude Diaries by Janice Kaplan. I am really looking forward to this one because, you know, we tend to talk about gratitude a lot in November with the Thanksgiving holiday. But we also know that gratitude is one of the most tangible, direct, immediate benefits of being a scrapbooker. And so I'm really, really excited about this book and how we can generate that sense of gratitude all year long. So I think reading it next fall will help us carry into 2019, and so that we can be more rooted in that really fundamental benefit of our creative hobbies. And then finally, you know, just for the end of the year, we're going to read Finish by Jon Acuff. Obviously, we talk a lot about finishing here at Simple Scrapper and in the finishing project class in our membership. And we're going to see what Jon has to say about how you can finish more of the projects you start. I haven't read this one yet, so it'll be really interesting to see how his approaches and advice aligns with the things that I teach and maybe how some of the things diverge. So it'll be a fun discussion in parallel to the things that we already do here at Simple Scrapper. All right. Okay, so now one more thing. And then I do want to say, I didn't mention this earlier, if you do have any questions, you can click the Ask a Question button here in Crowdcast to submit questions for me. And now is the time to do that because I have one more thing to talk about, and then I will be taking your questions. So we have this new study group option. I have toyed with various things. Should I do kind of deeper coaching, you know, as a separate offer? Should I, what kind of new things could I do for our members? I know that our members don't need more information. You have enough information. There's an endless array of classes to refine your techniques, to help you try new products, new tools. And what you need is support in moving forward with your hobby. You need support so that your hobby both fits into your life. How do you set up your life so that it is supportive of your hobby? And then how do you get the most out of your hobby in that time that you've set aside for it? And so that's what we do at Simple Scrapper. And so this study group is going to be on the Artist's Way. We had talked about having this as part of our book club for the year, but as I was digging through it, I already purchased the book and the companion workbook. I realized it's just way too big for 1 month. Now, the author, Julia Cameron, recommends taking this over 12 weeks. But I know we're all busy, and I thought that a 12-month study of this book would allow for plenty of time and space to really move through this material, to practice the exercises that she shares. There's about 10 every month, and to really take time to reflect. So you could do it over a week, and then you have time to reflect before we have our discussion. And you'll have all month long to do that. And so I'm really looking forward to this one. This is something that is going to be members only. So whereas our entire book club is open to the public, the entire Simple Scrapper community at large, it's always free to participate. And you know, many of our participants don't even read the books. They just come for the lively discussion, and that's fine too. The Artist's Way will be a study group that's part of our membership. We're going to use that to replace one of our member meetings, or rather to just make one of our member meetings each month super focused and action oriented. And that's what we're really talking about for next year, is how can we keep moving you forward, having relevant discussions that help you grow, that stretch you, but are fundamentally about you and your priorities and what you most need to grow as a scrapbooker and as a creative. So I'm really looking forward to this one. If you haven't seen it yet, here in Crowdcast, there's a big green button that says Simple Scrapper Book Club. That's where you can jump over to that book club page, check out any of the books on Amazon. And that's also where we have the section about the Artist's Way. And I just realized in the presentation earlier when I was scrolling through, I did not replace the picture yet, and I apologize yet. One thing to note, if you are not yet a member, we'll be opening up annual memberships this Friday. And so that is a deeply discounted opportunity to become a member. And so you may want to wait for that period. It'll be this Friday through the end of the month. And I'll have lots more details on that coming soon. If you already are a member, then the study group will be an option for you in the coming year. There's nothing more that you need to do. All right, let's go back to my face here. If I can close video. There we go. Okay, see if we have any questions. I don't have any questions submitted, but that's okay. I do, let's see, what other questions do we commonly get? So about the book club. Again, we hope that you buy the book, devour it, and come to the discussion prepared. But I take excerpts from the book throughout our discussion, and then I have you react to them and apply that often to a scrapbooking topic. And so it's not necessary to read the book, though I hope you do. So I just want you to feel that this is a warm and welcoming book club, whether you're a voracious reader or you're a super slow reader. So even if you haven't finished the book, please do come. As I said before, it's a text-based chat room, no pressure at all. One of our goals for next year, we know that there's a lot of people reading the books, downloading the transcripts, following the discussion guide. We're trying to get more people to come to the chat and participate in those live discussions because they are so eye-opening and there's so many different connections and you see other people's perspectives. And I just love that about the chats. And then I'm just checking my notes over here. And then as I've been mentioning about these books, I'm really excited about the selection here. I think we have a good set of 12. I've mentioned that a couple I have started, but for the most part, I don't read all of these books in advance because I'm not the fastest reader in the world. I take it based on recommendations and reviews and hope for the best. Sometimes we have we totally hit it out of the park, and a small number of times we have ones that are like, nah, that was just kind of okay. But I think we always find that there's something that we can learn, something that we can take away, even if it's, oh, I really don't want to do it that way because that's not for me. And I think some of those end up being the most fun and engaging discussions, because we can point out how this particular author maybe doesn't get scrapbookers. Or in the flip side is that we can say, oh my gosh, they wrote this book about something totally different, but this applies so beautifully to scrapbooking. And I think Gift from the Sea was one of those examples. And then with that study group, it'll be a once a month activity. I'll have kind of a study group guide to go along with it. We're just kind of formulating how this is going to work. But I'm really excited to do something a little bit different and help our members dive into material that is time-tested, well-loved, and I think is going to be a really enriching experience. So we have a question here real quick. So Betsy asks, are the live discussions usually in the evening? So yes, the book club discussions are consistently at 8:30 in the evening. That seems to work better for reaching the most number of people, particularly because we are US based and a lot of people do work during the day. I do these Simple Scrapper lives during the day because I have a 6-year-old daughter and a busy husband, and having these predictably in the evenings just wouldn't work for me. And many of you end up watching in the recording as well. So I try to do things during the day and in the evening as well. All right, see if there's any other questions here. I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the book club. I love that you guys are so enthusiastic about it. It's something I think is totally different. To me, it kind of highlights how Simple Scrapper fills this really unique place in the industry. We're here to support your creative lifestyle and to help you live your best life that's full of scrapbooking. And I hope you agree with that and you consider joining the book club in 2018 if you have not done so already. All right, my name is Jennifer Wilson again, and I am so thrilled to be leading you here at Simple Scrapper. I am your guide to this community and to all things keeping it purposeful and practical in this hobby. We've got so much to come for this November planning party, and I'm looking forward to sharing more with you by email very, very soon. Take care.